Think about it for a moment. You realize that if Vikings had survived past the Dark Ages, that they wouldn't be listening to the heavy metal, the black metal, the death metal that is coming out of those countries, right? You realize they would have grown up on the oompa music, the polka, the grandpa's guitars music. That's funny to me. You know, the songs they would sing around their campfires, are entirely made up of the old Germanic and, you know, Northern European, Nordic folk music. Metal, as we know it, didn't come about until the English invented it. Tony Iommi. But anyway, that's another point for another time, has nothing to do with this video. I just wanted you to think on that for a second. Vikings in Lederhosen. But, just an update, I did start reading Chaos, the book that I mentioned a couple of days ago. First chapter is fantastic, and I don't generally highlight things in books, but this book I took to highlighting passages from because it's that good. But what I want to talk to you about is, what do you do when there are no good martial arts schools in your area, or none whatsoever? You can't find a teacher, you can't find somebody knowledgeable, or you don't know somebody knowledgeable and don't want to start asking around. Well, here's what you do. You find, first of all, we live in an age online, so you can find a ton of stuff online, and you probably can find a training partner online, and even probably find a mentor online. But let's just say there is nobody to teach you what they know. There is a host of books and videos out there that are very, very good. And yes, it's not, by any means, it is not a substitute for a teacher, but you do what you can with what you've got. And that being the case, you know, you find something that strikes your fancy, something that flows well with you. You know, do your research and make sure you're not buying something that's total, utter crap. You know, research the forums, check the product reviews, make sure that what you're buying isn't stuff that is intuitively blatant, like punches hurt people, so hit them hard. That's not even a lesson. You know, so do some research, but then also find people to interview and talk to online. If they're not willing to teach you for free, or even for the money that you have, if, say, there's too much distance, they don't want to do video or can't do video chats, well, that's fine. But ask them what resources they would recommend. This is fantastic. I had somebody ask me that just yesterday, in fact. You know, and I myself will be shooting some videos soon. I know I keep saying that. Things are not falling into place the way they should. So, bear with me. But that being the case, you know, find what you can. And you know, if you're looking for something, you know, functional in the military, you know, there are plenty of resources out there on the Marine McMap program, on the Krav Maga, on Combat Sambo. There's plenty on that. There is a wealth of resources out there on more traditional styles. I mean, you can get the entire 16 or 15 volume set of the Taekwondo encyclopedia, the original, the formal guide of this is Taekwondo, for free online. I found a website that's run by a Taekwondo school where they have it in PDF format. Downloaded the whole thing. I'm not a Taekwondo practitioner. I don't even have particular interest in Taekwondo. But fuck it, I want the knowledge, right? But the reason I bring this up, not only because somebody asked me recently, but also because I'm in a situation where, as somebody who is ranked in Kenpo Karate, somebody who is ranked in Wing Chun Kung Fu, and somebody who is experienced as an amateur cage fighter, I have this base of experiences, but I want more. There are things that fancy my, that tickle my fancy, or catch my interest and all that. And what I did was, I've been in love with the idea of Shuaijiao Kung Fu for a long time. It's Chinese wrestling. It's the only Chinese system dedicated to grappling. Many of the throws and everything look identical to judo, and you might say, well, why don't you just go to a judo school? If I wanted to go to a judo school, I would. And I have nothing against judo. In fact, there's one just down the street from me. But I really want Shuaijiao. Why settle for one thing when you can get what you want? Unfortunately, there's not a teacher in Arizona, at least not one that advertises, and not one that I've heard passed around word of mouth or anything. I'm sure there is somebody in Arizona who has studied Shuaijiao in some capacity and just probably lives in the mountains somewhere and doesn't teach anybody. And that's fine. I haven't met him yet. And when I do, I will ask for lessons. But until that day comes, I got this. And I found a few other resources worth investigating, but this was the most highly recommended Method of Chinese Wrestling by Tong Zhongyi, and is translated by Tim Cartmel, who is in his own right a fantastic grappler. He's done several books on grappling and has some very, very detailed stuff himself. This book, I just got it, just came in the mail today. Funny, you remember I mentioned that it took 15 days for me to get Chaos from across town? This, I thought it was coming from Colorado. It came from Connecticut in 4 days. 4 days to come all the way across the country from Connecticut to Phoenix, Arizona. But 15 days to cross town with the other book. Fucking postal service. Anyway, so this is the most highly rated book on Shuaijiao wrestling. So if you don't have a practitioner or a teacher in your area, perhaps get your hands on it. And just flipping through it earlier today, it is very, very comprehensive. It's extremely comprehensive. I doubt you could fit the highest level principles and cherries on top and all that in in a 225 page book, but at the same time you can put the fundamentals in there, and the fundamentals are what I'm most interested in, because as a broad-based martial artist, as an amalgamated martial artist, I don't want to use the term mixed martial arts because that's its own thing now, but as an amalgamated martial artist, as somebody who's interested in more than one thing, I am interested in this because this is old school throwing, and there's some locking and whatnot in it as well, but throwing practice is incredibly important. It helps you center your balance so much better than anything else. And doing the throwing stuff that I've done for MMA and the takedowns we did in Kenpo and everything helped a lot, but I need more work on it. I am not a grappler by trade, I'm a striker by trade, and so my grappling is severely lacking in proportion, and I need to beef it up a bit. And like I said, I could be going to the judo school or whatever, but I've been obsessed with Shuaijiao for a while, and finally got myself a copy of the top-rated book. And I've found a few, my kittens are wrestling with each other, in fact. But this was a fantastic find, and there's lots of videos on YouTube of examples, but not really instruction. And I'm sure if I keep digging, I can find some very good instructional videos as well. There's a wealth of material out there. I just haven't vetted out the sources yet. But there's one caveat on teaching yourself a martial art. Well, there's two. One, if you're teaching it yourself, never ever claim to be an expert in that art. Never claim to be teaching that art. That's just poor form. Wait until you have the the authority of somebody in the system. It's like stealing somebody's name. You just don't do that, okay? So, learning from this book, I may learn some Shuai Jiao techniques, but I will never claim to know and teach Shuai Jiao until I have gone to a Shuai Jiao school, learned it, competed in it, and all that. What I can say is I have enhanced my grappling using some Shuai Jiao techniques that I've learned over the years. It's the same thing with Jeet Kune Do. I have never practiced in a Jeet Kune Do school, but I've got books and I've got videos on Bruce Lee's method because I love Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee helped me get on this path, and yet I will never claim to be a JKD practitioner or teacher until the day comes when I'm certified under Guru Dhanana Santo or some other reputable person in the JKD world. Otherwise, that's not who I am. I'm not a JKD guy. I'm just a martial artist exploring and expressing. So that's that. The other caveat is this: you need a training partner. You have to get a training partner. I don't care how good you are, shadow boxing is not enough. You have to have somebody to work with, preferably somebody within your weight category, especially if you plan on competing. Honestly, if you can get somebody bigger, do it. But here's the other side of it. If you didn't know somebody who could teach you, you probably don't know somebody who's good at martial arts already. So you don't pick your big dumb friend. We've all got those dull friends who are the life of the party. They're amazing people. They won't help your training because their structure and posture will just be horrible, and it will actually harm your training and likely harm you. So what you do is you get your bright friend who's willing to let you experiment and whom you're willing to let experiment on you. Find somebody who has mutual interest. If you have to send out an ad on Craigslist, go for it. I mean, if you end up with a 250-pound hermaphrodite, so what? You're not asking to fuck, you're asking to fight, right? So get a training partner. If you don't have the resources for a mentor, get a book, get a video, get a few of them, and start playing around, start practicing. Yes, you will not get to high level competition on books and videos alone, but it will get you started. And getting started is the most important part of it. And if you're clever, if you are keen, you will be able to figure out how your body moves, how your structure and function work well to execute power, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So that's all I got for you. I know I ranted a bit, but it's been a fun day since my orders finally started coming in. I'm still waiting on my Bachando Wing Chun knives, but that's all I got for you. Talk to you next time. Good journey.